Hi, this is Paul Erlandson. I'm the Director of Product Support for Lynx Studio Technology. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary with a series of videos. Today's video is covering the Hilo AD converter used in a mastering context. These videos are designed to supplement our other written materials, and our hope is that if a picture is worth 1,000 words, that this video is worth at least 10,000. When we designed the Hilo, we wanted to produce a product for mastering that carried on the legacy of the great converters in this area, like Pacific Microsonics and Prism and so forth, but with our own take on things, with something with new capabilities that weren't possible with older technology. Let's start by taking a look at what Hilo is. Hilo is a low channel count ADDA converter system with unique touchscreen control and reference quality headphone amp. Early in the design of Hilo, we had mastering in mind as one of the primary uses, and it was feedback from mastering engineers in the field that helped us make some of the unique characteristics in the Hilo. For instance, Hilo has two pairs of completely independent analog outputs. One can be used for going through an analog signal processing chain, the other to connect directly up to powered speakers or a mixing desk. Let's take a look at some of the other features that really set Hilo apart in this category. Of course, Hilo offers exemplary audio performance, detail, and transparency. The line inputs and outputs feature our exclusive bilinear technology, where two converter chips are used for each single channel, improving dynamic range and distortion performance. Analog volume control for monitor and phone outs, all with separate DACs. Support sample rates up to 192 kHz. Easily integrate digital devices with any of the main digital formats, even ADAT light pipe. High-end processes like superior quality sample rate conversion and DSD support. Most flexible routing for this product segment and top-shelf digital diagnostic data. Several high-resolution metering options, including analog VU, horizontal digital meters, and an innovative all I/O page. Here on the screen, you'll see some of the critical audio specifications for the Hilo. The Hilo features doubled up ADDA converter chips for the line inputs and the line outputs for extremely good performance in the real world. It features a staggering -140 dB crosstalk spec, which ensures you're going to get very wide stereo imaging. The frequency response is flat through the entire range at all sample rates. And it's important to note that every Hilo that ships meets or exceeds these specifications. Hilo has the ideal form factor to be used in today's mastering environments. Its small footprint works well in space-constricted studios. The fanless design ensures a quiet workspace. Hilo's switching power supply makes sure that you'll be able to use it in any country where you're called to do work. And the optional rack mount kit ensures that Hilo can be integrated nicely into any studio equipment rack. Whether you work in the box using all plugins, or do an entirely outboard signal path, or anywhere in between, Hilo will adapt perfectly to your workflow. Today we're looking at an analog-digital hybrid system using a Mac computer running Wavelab software. Let's take a look at some of the hardware connections and setup. We start with an Apple Macintosh computer connected via USB to the Hilo's USB port. The stereo line outputs are connected to the inputs of a Manley compressor. The Manley compressor's outputs go back into the line inputs on the Hilo. The AES digital I/O is connected to a TC finalizer. Other digital formats that are supported include SPDIF coaxial, SPDIF optical, and even ADAT light pipe. The monitor outs are connected to powered speakers. The headphone out is connected to headphones for a confidence mix or for a second engineer. Now let's set the trim levels on the Hilo to match the audio levels of the connected audio gear to the line inputs and the line outputs. Trim levels are available between consumer levels all the way through plus 24 dBu, and you set that from Hilo's homepage. In addition, Hilo features trim pots for fine-tuning. When the trims are set, we can also set the sample clock to an external source if you wish. You could choose word clock, digital in, or a variety of other sources. After that's established, next on the home page, we want to choose what the digital input format would be, selecting between AES-EBU, SPDIF coaxial, and SPDIF optical. In this case, we're going to choose AES-EBU. The next thing to decide is if we want to use Hilo's sample rate converter for signals coming into the digital inputs. This is quite handy for devices that are not functioning as a clock slave, so that Hilo can reclock those signals on the way in. When Hilo is configured appropriately, now is a great time to save a scene for easy recall. The Scene Select is on the Tools menu, and you can choose any of 6 scene locations. Let's pull up the QWERTY keyboard, and we'll call this scene Analog. Now let's take a look at the software side of things. Today we're using Wavelab on a Macintosh computer. We have a source track playing assigned to Hilo's Play 1 and 2 outputs. Here's where we start to do some routing. This takes place in Hilo's Output Mix Routing page, available from the home screen. First, we're sending the audio from Play 1 and 2 to the line outputs to be processed. On the Output Mix Routing page, we choose line outputs as the output destination, and Play 1 and 2 as the source feeding them. We're going to keep everything at unity gain. Next, we're taking the signal from the analog processing chain, and in this case the Manley compressor, and bringing it back into the line inputs on the Hilo. From there, it's going to route to the digital outputs to go out to the TC finalizer. So on the Output Mix Routing page, we pull up AES output and assign to it line input. Now, the return from the TC is what we want to listen to. So on the Output Mix Routing page, we'll choose Monitor Outs, where our speakers are connected, and choose AES In as the signal source for that output. Now we're hearing the audio post-processing through our speakers. But perhaps we want to compare it to the source track to see what sort of effect the processing has had upon the material. This is very easy to do with Hilo. Using the solo button, we can toggle between USB Play 1 and 2, the source track, and AES input, the post-process track, for easy A/B comparison. When we're satisfied with the results of the processing, we can record the signal coming back to the computer using Record 1 and 2. As you can see, using the Output Mix Routing page, we have absolute flexibility for any signal source routed to any output and any combination of sources. We also have very flexible mono monitoring schemes, solo button. It's really an optimal environment for routing any signal anywhere you want, no matter what style of working you have. Hilo is the ideal tool for the demanding needs of today's mastering engineers. Let's review why. Audio quality needed for the crucial mastering step. Transparent, detailed AD and DA conversion. Discrete, independent analog inputs and outputs. Accurate metering for all sources and outputs with VU calibration. Easy and flexible routing of any combination of sources to any output at any level. A reference quality headphone amplifier. Wide variety of trim levels for integration with any level of outboard processing gear or monitoring equipment. Flexibility to assign any input stream to any of up to 16 record channels in the computer. Small desktop form factor, no fan, and a rack mount option. Excellent quality sample rate conversion. Built-in test tone function for calibrating audio equipment. New features, meters, and options available in the future through simple downloadable firmware updates. As you can see, Hilo is masterful for mastering and was designed for this as a core use from the ground up. With a combination of audio quality, ease of use, flexibility, and expandability, this would be the last converter a working mastering engineer would need to buy for the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching, and may all your projects go gold.